bank teller discovers that he's actually an NPC inside a brutal open world video game. It's directed by Sean Levy and it stars Ryan Reynolds. So, Andrew, what did we think about Free Guy?
Felt like I was watching corporate slop.
I actually liked it more than I thought I was going to. I'll be completely honest. It's not a perfect movie, but where it shines, I think it shines. Particularly in the third act. I think the third act is actually pretty solid.
Yeah, to me, it's one of the 2 times this year where I felt like I was watching a computer algorithm making a movie. Like, to me, like, this felt like some, like, studio producer was so desperate for a hit. And so they went to this, like, all-knowing computer in Hollywood that, like, knows what makes, like, a hit movie. And this guy's like, I need a hit so bad. So he cranked that computer and it spit out the ingredients. Video games, Ryan Reynolds, Taika Waititi to a certain extent, Steve Harrington from Stranger Things. Mix all that shit in a pot, and boom, you got fucking Free Guy. That's what it felt like to me.
Well, here's the thing, like, it's like I don't think it was a perfect movie by far. I think there's a lot of shortcomings for sure. With the comedy, it was more cringe than not. I think the stuff that made me laugh was a lot of like the background stuff that was happening, where, you know, if you're a gamer, you're just gonna laugh because it's a lot of lag jokes and just a lot of like little references here and there. And I did like a lot of the references too, you know, especially with the big cameo. I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. I like kind of how they handled it. But yeah, a lot of the jokes between like Ryan Reynolds and Taika and some of the other supporting cast was just really shitty. I was just like, ooh, this is bad.
I'm just being honest. I think the bunny suit is just a little much.
Excuse me?
But I did like the heart of it. I think really like Joe Keery and then Molotov Girl. I liked their story. I think once their whole plot kind of kicked in, I was like, okay, I could kind of follow this. And then I liked the relationship between Free Guy and then his security guard buddy. There was a lot of like good moments there. So there's good moments, but it's also ratioed out with a lot of bad stuff. And there's like way too many fucking Fortnite references. I think that was pretty annoying with how many Fortnite shit was going on in there. But
Yeah.
you know, I could definitely see where you're coming from, that it's like corporate slop. It definitely has that feel to it, but
Yeah.
definitely a lot of good moments. And like, honestly, it was crazy because I think in that last, 15, 20 minutes of the movie, I think a lot of us in the theater were like just audibly going like, what the fuck? Like, that's the stuff we're getting from Free Guy? Like, that's a lot more emotionally charged than we thought it was going to be. So it may just maybe because we were just surprised. Maybe if I see this a second time, I'll see a lot more that's wrong with it. But I did not have a bad time. It definitely was more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. So I'm sorry you didn't feel the same way about this.
Yeah. Every time it cut to a Twitch streamer, I was just thinking like,
Yeah.
I want to fucking kill myself. I hate this
Oh
so
my
goddamn
God.
much.
For a player to be a good guy.
He's also a really cute guy. And not just the face, you know, but like the whole thing.
Fuck this shit! Came in this fucking room and everything went.
Yeah, like here's the thing, like I don't know every gaming channel YouTuber except like maybe Ninja, because he's the one that's like you see everywhere. But I was like, shit, like they're doing like there's that whole bit with they basically did NPC Lives Matter. I thought that was so fucking stupid. I was like, oh my God, because they had like a way more interesting plot point that's in the movie that, you know, they do explore it, but then anytime they cut to that stuff about the Twitch streamers kind of giving their opinions on something, and I'm like, oh no, shut up. I don't want to hear this. I want to get back to the story.
I want to propose a new rule in Hollywood to where if you can remember 9/11 then you can no longer write about the internet or internet culture or use internet slang in your screenplay. Because if I have to fucking hear a grown-ass man use the word noob in an unironic way the year 2021 ever again, I'm gonna flip my shit. Case in point, the director, Sean Levy, age 53. Screenwriters, Zach Penn, age 53. Screenwriter, Matt Lieberman, who's also credited with story idea. Age, not given, but judging by his profile pic on IMDb, he's no fucking spring chicken. So it feels like grown people who, I don't know, like, their experience with video games or whether or not they play them or not, but judging by Zach Penn, who also wrote Ready Player One, got a lot of shit wrong with video game culture in Ready Player One. I want to say he probably doesn't have a lot of experience with video games, or at best, he probably is, like, very casual.
Well, here's the thing. See, you think that was bad with the whole noob. See, I didn't even mind that because there was way worse issues, like, with the dialogue. Like, dude,
yeah,
I would rather hear a grown man say noob unironically than a grown man say the words Albuquerque something turkey.
And I know that you love Kentucky Fried Chicken. Why would I make another restaurant called, I don't know, Albuquerque Boiled Turkey? Okay?
Like, when I heard shit like that, I was like, fuck you! That was... What the fuck was that?
All right, we're fighting because Taika Waititi is the only goddamn thing in this movie that made me laugh. And that line about the Albuquerque, like, turkey, that actually got a good chuckle out of me.
No fucking way.
Yes, it did.
I thought that shit was so lame. And I don't even think it's Taika. Like, here's the thing. Like, I think Taika does a good job with portraying, like, the villain he's supposed to be. But, man, some of those jokes, and I feel like this is a problem with a lot of just the dialogue in general, is just very much like Albert, like that type of shit. And then there's like, oh, is that like a Glock in your pants? Like, oh, it's 2 Glocks. I'm like, oh, fuck you. Like, that wasn't very funny. You know, that's the problem that I had. So, I thought that shit was lame. I don't know. I'm surprised you thought you got a laugh out of that. I'm very surprised because that's not something that would actually make you laugh, I think.
One other thing that I want to touch upon is the story structure of the film. Ultimately, I think it's pretty wonky. I think the root problem with that is if we analyze it here, we can trace it back. I'm going to bring up Red Letter Media's review of Star Wars The Phantom Menace. And in that review, they bring up the fact that there is no main character of the movie. Because every time you can think, like, oh, the main character is this, the more you think about it, the more you realize, like, well, that doesn't make any sense because, like, because of X, Y, and Z. I think there was a sort of issue here where there's ultimately this movie, bear with me, this movie goes experimental. Ultimately, there's 2 main characters. You have Ryan Reynolds as Guy, and ultimately, he just wants more out of life. Then the second main character is the fucking girl. I think I'm just gonna Whiskey Molotov. Fuck it, that's her name. That's what I'm referring to her as. But anyway, she ultimately wants, like, a computer drive, like, whatever the fuck. She wants the computer drive that's in the game. Again, who gives a shit? And I would say she is equally the main character because she's the person who has, like a full-on narrative arc. Where, like, Ryan Reynolds begins and ends with, I want more out of life. He doesn't really, like, accomplish anything or want to pursue anything more than that. Because you would think his thing would be, oh, like, I'm having an existential crisis because I just found out that I'm, like, a non-playable character in a video game. But he doesn't really learn that until way late into the movie.
Right, yeah, I was gonna say, like, yeah, because the first half is very much like, yeah, I am not getting a lot of a life, but then he meets Molotov Girl, and he goes, "Oh, okay, now I know what I have to do." And it's pretty much like he's got to get good, and then it's like towards what, like the halfway or like a little bit towards the end where he kind of finds out he's an NPC, right?
Yeah, because I think what this film should have done is I think they should have just borrowed the structure from a Truman Show. Because essentially the movie, it's basically like, what would you do if you found out that you were in a simulation? Now, I don't know about you, Byron, but to me, I would want to try to see if I can get out of that simulation, to break free. And just like Truman Show, he wants to break free of that television show. You would think with a movie called Free Guy that the movie should have been about freeing Guy, but it's not. It's about girl getting computer drive, and which realistically you can just do that by just a fucking lawsuit. Bada bing, ba boom.
Well, I mean, they do explain, like even though, because there's a couple times in that story where like, wait, why can't they just do this? But they do explain it. It may not be the best, but it's kind of like, oh, I guess it would make sense, because they do explain why she just can't do a lawsuit, right? Because there's a reason why she needs a specific drive. And the thing is, I feel like if you are comparing Free Guy to Truman Show, it's more difficult to do that in Free Guy, just because, at least with the setting, because this is basically just GTA Online. That's essentially what the video game is. So it's harder to kind of sell that in the sense of like showing it in a Truman Show way, because in Truman Show you didn't have like people in jetpacks and doing those fighter jet like rocket tricks and driving trains in the middle of the city or all that kind of stuff. So that's a bit harder to sell. I mean,
I do agree with you there. But I still think like the overall concept would be the same of like wait, I'm in a video game, my life's a lie. How the fuck do I get out of here? Again, this concept to me should have started and ended with, hey, I've got an idea for a movie. What if a guy figures out he's in a video game? Because like, what the fuck else do you do with that concept? Which is like what this movie does. Like once Ryan Reynolds finds out he's in a video game, it's like, okay.
Well, I mean,
it's on.
Yeah, it's like there's a little bit more to it than that, though, because I think his whole thing was not that. Yeah, he does want more out of life, but like he doesn't want to be stuck in the same loop. They even make a couple of references, like, yeah, he's stuck in your.
You kind of touched upon like another point that I wanted to bring up, at least for my enjoyment. In a movie's universe where there's like fucking trains, jetpacks, fucking bazookas going apeshit everywhere, the movie plays it pretty conservatively in terms of like the wackiness. It plays it really safe. And I think they should have just like went full on balls to the wall bonkers. Like there was two moments where I think captured what this movie should have been. The first one was like the opening sequence where like you see Channing Tatum skydive in and then just fucking land in a car next to like a fucking busty ass girl, and then he starts launching like grenades everywhere with explosions all around him. And then the second one was like you kind of see it in the trailer where like bazooka girl, whatever the fuck, Molotov girl, like she whips out she kisses Ryan Reynolds, then she whips out like a grenade launcher out of nowhere, launches it down an alleyway, and then there's a giant explosion. Like, I think the more of that, like, who gives a fuck attitude, I could have enjoyed it more. Like, if it was more like Airplane, like in terms of tone and how much Airplane just does not give a single fuck, I think that would just work for me. But ultimately,
just say you want your Macho Man Randy Savage like mods in there, bro. Just say it with it, because that's what I wanted too. It's so we wanted our Macho Man Randy Savage, but I do agree. I think they could have been a lot more creative. I mean, like they did some stuff, but I think they could have really been creative as fuck with a lot of the stuff they've done with this movie. So I do agree with you on that point.
I think it's one of those movies where it tries to be like a 4-quadrant movie. Like, it's got to be likable for kids, it's got to be likable for adults, it's got to be for grandparents, for men, women of all ages. Like, when a movie tries to do that, it ends up being relatable to nobody. So I think it should have just like laser focused, just fucking dead centered on their demographic, which is video game people.
Right.
And ultimately, like, I don't know. It has like an 84% or some shit on Rotten Tomatoes. So like, what the fuck do I know? But yeah, ultimately,
I get where you're coming from, but I definitely think even with besides the shortcomings, like, it did a pretty solid job. I mean, definitely that third act, I think for me is probably like the best part. I think definitely it has a slow start, a lot of cringy comedy, dialogue is not always there, but I did at least like the story when it's shown, or when it's when it shines, and surprisingly pretty emotional third act, and I'll definitely probably see the sequel. Who knows?
Also, something that just came to mind. I want to talk about the score, because I think I'm the only one who would give a fuck about this. I am a fan of the short animated film that came out like almost 10 years now, called Paperman. And it was released as a short film in front of Wreck-It Ralph. And there's no dialogue, but it's all set to like a musical score. And the music in the short... Yeah, the musical, like, the score used in that short film is great. And it's composed by Christoph Beck. I just want to make sure I'm pronouncing that. Who also did the score for this movie, Free Guy. And he legit plagiarized his own score, because, like, whenever, like, emotional, like, quote-unquote emotional things happen in the movie, he's just playing legit this Paperman music, like, verbatim.
Really?
Yeah, there's no changes to it at all. It's like, my guy, if you want to get lazy and just reuse your own shit, at least do the Hans Zimmer approach, where, like, he'll, like, you know what it's, like, copying, but at least it has some new stuff thrown into this. But it's legit copy and paste the same song. Like I said, I guarantee you, I'm the only one on this planet fucking Earth who gives a shit about that. But god damn it, I'm gonna bring that shit up.
It's the hill you're dying on, damn it. It's the hill you're dying on.
Yeah, I'm dying on that fucking hill.
I respect you for that.
Thank you, sir. But on that note, yeah, really didn't enjoy Free Guy. It wasn't for me. Glad everyone else seems to be enjoying it. It's not my cup of tea. Would rather watch some other shit. But that's just me.
And you know what? That's okay. And here's the thing. My general thoughts? I liked it. Is it the best thing ever? No. But it's definitely something that you can enjoy with your friends or your family. So I gave it my recommendation. Or you can always just wait till it comes out on a streaming service or on demand, and it works that way too. It's just a nice little film to watch.
All right. Well, got nothing else for you, so goodbye.